There we go. Hi, everyone. I'm grabbing my icing. I was, maybe like some of you, I was like, oh, shoot, I got to get my icing ready. I wanted it to be super fresh. So give me a second. I'm going to clean off the K-beater while y'all come on in the room here. Hello. All right. Okay. Hey, everyone. Hi, I've got my fresh bowl of icing. Okay. You got to listen to, okay, there we go. I've got a fresh bowl of icing, and you got to listen to the sound when you're mixing up the icing, because if it starts slopping around, that's like a telltale sign that it's about to be overmixed. I always listen for that sound. But I've learned my lesson. I got to stay in the same room as my mixer when it's mixing, or it gets too stiff. All right, hey everybody. Okay, so if you are joining for the first time, make sure that you have the prep list. We are decorating Christmas cookies tonight. Cute little Santa and Mrs. Claus. I'm Lauren, also known as Lolly. You can call me Lolly. And welcome to the Christmas decorating party. This is my, I'm calling it a Christmas our cookie party as an excuse to decorate Christmas cookies. So welcome. I'm so glad that you're here. We have people joining from a bunch of places. And let me know where you're watching from. Okay. Yeah, and if you are just joining and just saw this, make sure you grab the prep list. We're posting it here in the comments to make sure that you have the link for it, okay? Because that has the recipes. It has the color and consistency chart that we're going to be using tonight, and tools list. So I have all the links and everything so that you're all prepped and have everything that you need to make these super cute Santa, Mrs. Claus. We've got Elf and Rudolph we'll be doing in just a few days. So, all right, we're gonna jump in and get started. So I have my icing to show you. I am gonna go ahead and mix up some consistencies really quickly for those of you who needed maybe a little bit of guidance and help on getting those colors, because the color and consistency chart, it does show you like the gel colors to have on hand, and then we've got the actual consistencies over here. And this is for day 1 and day 2. So I'm gonna show you exactly which ones we're going to be using for tonight. So if you are a little bit more experienced of a cookier, you might have been able to kind of you probably already have your consistencies all mixed, but this is for all levels, and I'm so excited to be decorating Christmas cookies. I've been listening to Christmas music. I had never been one to really start the whole Christmas decorating thing until after Thanksgiving, but I can't believe how late Thanksgiving is happening this year. And so I've been decorating Christmas cookies and shooting Christmas content for like the last, oh gosh, 4 or 6 weeks. I love it. Love it. And now I get to do them with you. So I've got my big bowl of freshly mixed icing, and I've got my paper towels. So we're gonna get started. I've got a multi-camera view, so you can see up close exactly what I'm doing. Awesome. Hey, everyone. Oh, we got some of you watching from Illinois. Welcome. West Virginia, Missouri, South Carolina. Awesome. Thank you so much for spending your time with me. I am going to show you some maybe some new ways that you haven't thought of about doing some of the techniques that we're going to do. And they're super cute. They're really impressive in like even a gifted set or something. Anyway, we're going to have so much fun. So let's dive in. I've got my bags. I like to stack my bags on cups, and it makes it really easy to get everything bagged up because I want to spend the most time possible on decorating today. Now, if I can show you, okay, so, okay, that's what I want to show you. Okay, so I'm going to be mixing stuff up in here, but I want to show you a little bit, just so you know where we're going tonight with these, where we're going to be starting as far as decorating. So if you do have your icing all mixed, then you can join in at the right time. So we are doing some wet on wet, and then we're quickly going to move over to getting our red on so that that can crust over. So I always like to dry my cookies in front of a fan so that I have really good airflow. That's what helps your cookies get a nice sheen on them, kind of get more shiny. And so it depends on your environment too. If you have a really warm environment in your kitchen or wherever you're decorating, they might not turn out so glossy, but just make sure that you have some airflow wherever you're setting your cookies to dry. We are going to set these to dry to crust over before we do details. So I would advise that you have a fan set up. Okay. Now, I will probably answer questions as we go along, but I am going to be keeping an eye on the comments. So if you have a question, please go ahead and put it in the comments so that I can make sure that it gets answered for you. I really want you to have fun with this tonight. I want you to have success with these cookies, and then I want you to show them off. So that's the fun part, and enjoy eating them too, because that's also the fun part. Okay. Oh, hello from Indiana. And how is your son? Oh, Karen, thank you for asking. So Micah is the whole reason that I started doing cookies. And it's kind of interesting and funny and like ironic, actually, that this week of getting prepared to do Christmas cookies again has kind of been my saving grace. And I am really grateful for it because taking care of a sick kiddo who has heart issues and lung issues, especially this week when doctors have not been that much help. And we basically just have to keep him supported at home, which means a lot of extra attention and care. And I've been needing something to kind of, I don't know what it's called. It's called, what is it called? It's like, I've heard it called rinsing your mind before, where you can dive into something else that kind of helps rinse your mind, and then you can go back and think about all the hard things, right? So cookies have been rinsing my mind this week, and I really appreciate you asking. He is still, he's a warrior. He is fighting to keep breathing well and everything, but we are still home and not in the hospital, so I'm grateful for that. So, okay. Grateful for all of the reasons that make me love cookies, and the whole reason that I started it in the first place was to have some sanity amongst some really difficult times. Some of you might be like that as well, and maybe you saw cookie decorating while you were scrolling, or an ad popped up or something, and it brought up some interest for you. Like, I wholeheartedly believe that things are put in our path at the right time, and for lots of different reasons that can help us. And so I hope, and as you have tonight, taken the opportunity to come and join me. So, okay, let's get started with mixing up our icing. All right, let's get back to that view where I can show you exactly what I'm mixing up. Okay, we've got some real up close, and then you can see from above here exactly what I'm doing. My color and consistency chart, okay, I want to show you up close here exactly what we're mixing up tonight. We're going to be doing all three consistencies of our white. We need red, we need skin tone, and then towards the end, we're actually maybe halfway through, we're going to be mixing up our black as details, but I really want to get our white and our skin tone going and the red so that we can lay down our icing and start that crusting over. Okay. So, all right, drop an emoji in the comments of what you're doing right now. Okay. If you're baking with me, or not baking, if you're decorating with me, I know some of you are watching this for fun, and I'm so glad, because it's fun to watch. So you can watch me decorate, you can join in and decorate with me. I hope that you bring your friends, and if you did not bring your friends tonight, then I'm doing this again on day 2. Bring them again on Saturday. Okay, so white here. We're mixing up 3 consistencies of white. And I'm going to go a little bit into the different consistencies. If you need more in depth of like what the consistencies look like and how to get them exactly perfect, in our Rockstar Cookier Society is our Lolly's Cookie Town community, and I did an in-depth tutorial on that just a little while ago, and you can go and watch that if you need a little bit of additional help. So Right now, though, I'm going to show you that that came straight out of the mixer. You can see how thick it is. Okay. And this is kind of like toothpaste consistency. I'm going to add just a couple drops of water because I want it to be detailed, but you can tell, you can see on the chart that the heart is a little more towards the left of that section. And so that means it needs to be a detail consistency that's a little bit sticky. You want the detail piping to actually stick to the layer underneath. And we do that with just a little bit of water. It's still going to stay stiff. It's still going to keep its shape. Whoops. But we want it to stick to the layer underneath. Okay. So I like that. It's still a little sticky, but real stiff still. Okay. So I'm going to take a tiny bit of that. I actually have my two sizes of bags tonight for simplicity's sake. I've got some small bags that I'm putting my smaller amounts of icing in. Okay. And I'm just going to get the air out of that one, set it aside. I'll tie all the colors at once. Now we need to get an outline consistency. And on the chart, you'll see that it says it's like yogurt. Okay. It can be, you can go anywhere from like a regular yogurt consistency to like a Greek yogurt, thick consistency. Oh, that's good. You could go, I mean, that's thicker for sure. Yeah, and for those of you who are watching now and then, you know, you're planning and you're prepping for your Christmas cookies, this is going to be so good for you. You'll be all ready to go. Okay, this is a great outline piping consistency. So I'm going to grab a few tablespoons of that, and I'm going to put that in one of my smaller bags as well. I'm going to label these because it can get a little tricky making sure that you remember what's what. So I'm going to put an O on here, and this is going to be, whoops, let me see. So I'm just labeling the bag with a Sharpie. If you want to use, so my other bag size is kind of the regular size. These are Killer Zebras. And I love it because she has the markings on them and you can just like check the box. Sometimes it gets hidden depending on how much icing you have in the bag, but these are great too. But these are my little bit bigger ones, so I'll use these for like flood and stuff tonight. These Killer Zebra bags are awesome. I do, if you go and get these, I have a code, so make sure that you grab that and you can get a discount on them. And these other bags are my standard bags. I've got these linked on the prep list for this class. Okay, well, I'm getting the air bubbles out of that. Now this last one, we are going to make it a flood. Whoops. There we go. But a thick flood, okay? And what I mean by thick flood is that it needs a little bit of help to settle out on its own. I just added probably about a teaspoon of water to this, and you could see how much I started with, right? It was probably a little bit over a cup of water that I started with. And you will find, so I teach this color mixing in one main way that I'm showing you, but in a couple of different methods. I sometimes have a whole formula guide. And basically it's designed to help you mix colors without watching me, without having any help. A lot of my classes have a color and consistency guide with formulas. So it tells you exactly how much to measure, how much of the icing to measure out, how many drops of color to put in and all that. But because I'm showing you tonight, you get the whole visual. And feel free to take notes though, as far as how many drops of color to put in. But just wanted you to know that sometimes you'll find in some of my classes the formula guide as well. Okay, so this is definitely thick, but I feel like it's even still a little too thick. It requires a lot of extra shaking for it to settle out. Here, let me do this. There we go. Okay. So, and I don't want to have quite that much. But this is where it can get a little dicey if you're trying to get puffy icing. So on our Santa's mustache here, right? And his whole beard is a layer, but then the mustache is nice and puffy. We want it to stay puffy, and you don't have to do any weird squiggles or poke the icing underneath or anything like you see people do. It's all in the integrity of your icing. There's a reason that my recipe calls for a little bit of extra meringue powder. Okay, it's going to be a little bit of a safeguard to keeping your icing from caving in once it's dry, because it has enough substance in it. All right, so this is a nice thick one where we are going to use the scribe to help settle it out. If it's thinner than this, you're going to start to have issues with cratering. And cratering is when after your icing is dry, it caves because it doesn't have enough structure to support it after the water is evaporated. And we don't want that happening. Okay. I'm also going to take into account that I'm probably not going to lay this icing down for another, I don't know, 20, 30 minutes maybe. And so it is going to loosen up a tiny bit more by that time. So if you're worried about it being maybe a little too thick, you can always unbag it and thin it out once you get to the point where you're like laying it down on the cookie, you know? Okay, so that goes in the sink. And I know this is a flood because it's in a specific bag, but if you want to label it, please go ahead. I do the helicopter method. This saves a lot of headache with air bubbles, but you do have to be careful because our whole, so many of our rock stars and crew members can attest to mishaps happening when you do the helicopter method. So watch out. But I don't know, isn't that like the christening of you finally have reached at like a new level as a cookier when you have icing all over your walls and your ceiling and like everywhere? Is that, I'm pretty sure that's how it works. All right. And my detail. Oh my gosh, is somebody crocheting? You're crocheting as well? Multitasking. Okay, and multi-talented apparently. I used to cross stitch. I used to cross stitch when I was younger and I loved it. Actually, I love sewing. I love crafting. Cookies takes up my whole life now. I don't know why I'm cutting this. I like clean tops. That's me. So I always keep some scissors on hand. Okay, my white is ready to go. I'm going to put this right up here. Okay. And we're going to move to skin tone. Well, I take that back. Hold on. We're going to go to red. I do need some red. I don't need a lot. I mean, I'm doing like one cookie, but this much, this is like maybe a third of a cup. And I'm going to show you how much red to put in. Okay. I do red a couple different ways. For this class, I'm using super red because I want like a bright, real bright Christmassy red. If you want a deeper red, I do that with mixing some other stuff in, which I do, gosh, in a couple of my other Christmas classes, we use some of the red powder mixed in with this, but all we need today is the super red. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I got 10 drops in here. I know. Is anybody freaking out that like, oh no, that's a lot? Is anybody? Okay, great question, Linda. How do you figure out how much of each color you need? So that depends on how many cookies you're doing, and it also depends on how much icing is on each cookie. So if you have a multi-layer design, then what you can do is before you, like if you have a cookie design, get out a scale and mimic how much icing you would put on that and then weigh it. And then you know, okay, I need a certain amount, you know, a certain weight of each color. And you can do it that way. You can be exact, or you can eyeball it, estimate, and you most likely will have some leftovers. I have never been one to weigh everything, but I do know some cookiers who do. I think especially if you're doing the business of cookies, right? If you're in the business of cookies or you're teaching classes and you have to have specifics, then you definitely, I'm going to add 2 more. So that was, oh my gosh, did I add 8? Did you guys remember? Or did I do 10? Bev, I did 10. 12. So another 2 drops. This is going to settle. And let's get it to Oh, we do need a detail consistency and my thick flood. Okay. So we're going to leave it at this detail consistency. I'm not going to add water like I did the white because this is nice and sticky because of the gel color in it. It does need to process a little bit. Okay. 10, 12 total. Thank you, everyone. So write that on your color and consistency chart. Okay. Like 1/3 of a cup of icing, 12 drops of red. All right. And we'll come back and check on this. And if we need to add more, then we'll notate that. All right. You're getting like a two and one. This is like, I'm showing you the secret to how I get my colors is figuring out how many drops, right? Okay. You're learning some inside secrets. But I love you guys. So I want to show you everything. There's so many cool things about decorating cookies and colors and color palettes and stuff. And I cannot wait to dive into more of that. I wish I could show you all in this one class, but we're doing Christmas cookies. That's going to be fun. And y'all can dive into all the other color stuff later on. Okay. We need, let me catch my breath. Can I get a drink? I'm going to just, All right. Skin tone. Let's get some skin tone. This one's a little bit of a delicate one. Okay. And skin tone. This one is going to be it might be a little trickier. Okay. And it's very likely that I get too dark of a color. And then I'm going to, if that happens, I'm going to show you how to cut it. Okay. I really should teach a master class on like how to save your icing if you don't get the color right and all the things that you can do with it. Oh my gosh, I can't tell you how many times I've done that. All right. Okay, so we are going to start with a tiny bit of warm brown. I'm going to do 1 drop of warm brown, okay? And it really is going to be brown. So it's kind of interesting. Sometimes I have to mix up a certain amount of color in order to get the right shade, like to get the right color. And then sometimes I'll take a little bit of that and use it in other colors. But like sometimes it's hard with really light colors to mix up just a little bit. Like if I only end up using like, 2 tablespoons, it's hard to mix up just 2 tablespoons of an exact right color. That's a very small amount. It's easier to mix up a bit like this. You have a little bit more wiggle room when you add your color, and then you can use whatever you need and save the rest. Okay, it gives me a peachy tone. And I'm going to show you what I'm doing here because I actually have some leftover of when my sample color. Okay, so this right here is the flesh tone, the skin tone that I'm trying to match, right? This has like developed a little more, so it does feel a little bit more brown, but even if we take the finished cookie, okay, we're trying to match this. I would say even a little bit lighter than this would be cool. So I want to show you. Okay, so if you look here, it does feel like pretty blah. It's not there yet. It doesn't feel like it's got life to it. It does look pinky peach, but I'm not loving it yet. So let's do something else. We're going to add a tiny bit of gold. All right. The amount of icing in here is about a 1/2 cup. Is that a 1/2 cup? Yeah, it's about a 1/2 cup. Okay, so I'm going to add, this is like a 1/2 drop of gold. And it is going to add some warmth to it. It's going to add some personality. It's going to feel, oh, it's a lot. It's like, the color of life. And then depending on the shade or skin tone, you definitely can go a little bit more with the warm brown, a little bit more gold. You can also add a little bit of chocolate brown, depending on the skin shade that you are going for. Okay, so this one, I actually am digging it. It's lighter than this. And it's a little bit lighter than that. I actually want to go, I like it, but I think I need a little bit more of the gold. So it's like a whole drop. I don't want that. So one of the warm brown and one of gold, okay? There we go. There we go. That's it. All right. There is the shade that I'm looking for. And it almost is like, yeah, this beigey color, but it's definitely flesh tone. You could go a little bit more pink if you wanted to stay a little bit more pinkish, but this will work. So great. I need a detail, sticky detail, which is this. For Santa's little curl at the top, okay? We're not doing a ton with this, but where's my small bag? All right, hold on. That's why I had that cut out. I want to use a small bag for this. Okay. Oh my gosh, we got somebody watching from Brazil. Hello. Amazing. Oh, it's so cool. We always reaches all far and wide. So amazing. Okay. Flood. So the rest of this, we are adding some drops of water. I got about a half a teaspoon probably in there. So you can see I took out about 2 tablespoons. And we want this to be like cold honey, okay? And it's not like cold honey yet. But we're doing some puffing, the Santa's nose, Mrs. Claus nose, her nose. So we want this to be, let me get these colors out of the way. We want this to be, stay puffy. We want it to be a thick flood, just like we did with our white. All right, I'm in the zone, so. Ooh, yeah, there we go. Okay. Now we are going to need this to settle out because it's wet on wet that we're using this for. So I added a couple more drops of water, a 1/4 teaspoon. About what I just added. Okay, I think, I don't know, this one, I feel like it needs a little bit more because I need it nice and smooth to settle out, but still have some structure to it. So you just want to be real careful on this flood for the skin tone, not to go too thin, okay? Oh, there we go. There we go. See how if I shake it a little bit, it's going to settle out, but it's still nice and thick. Okay, I'm going to bag this up. Awesome. And that is our skin tone. And if it feels like I'm hurrying with this, I am a little bit because, like I said, we want to get to our decorating and get some icing down on the cookie. Yeah. Awesome. Oh, awesome, Constance. Yeah, the my royal icing recipe is a good one. So make sure if anything that you take away from this little session is the recipes from the prep list, okay? These glass bowls, these are listed on my Amazon store. So if you type in Amazon Lolly's Home Kitchen, then it will show up and you can grab these glass bowls. Yeah, I also love that they're really nice and deep. I actually got them because of lives and showing because they're see-through, right? But they actually fit in my hand too, which I love. I used to use some bigger bowls. It was like hard to maneuver them because they were so big. My very first ones, you'll still see them once in a while, are red bowls. That's just what I had when I first started doing cookies, and I got used to them, but they were bright red. And I was like, nah, maybe I should, maybe it'll help me with my colors if I don't have bright red bowls. Speaking of red, here we go. Okay. Okay, so this looks bright and orangey. But here's the thing is I want to do the swipe test because I added quite a bit of color. This is my swipe test. I've got a really thin layer. You can see I've just swiped a really thin layer because I just want to make sure that it's going to dry because I did put quite a bit of color. So, okay. So I'm going to let that, we're going to let that dry. Tell you what, to even speed up the process, I'm going to go ahead and add like I added 5 or 6 drops of water. I'm going to mix it up. It's still going to leave it as a detail consistency, which I want. It's going to make it a little bit stickier, which is fine, but it's going to speed up the development of the red. Now, if you've done red before and you're like, it's been sitting for hours and it's still not developed, that's a problem. It shouldn't need to be sitting for hours to get developed enough to start using, okay? Now, I'm going to show you this one. This is a red that I use for sample cookies. This has been sitting for a long time, so it's very developed. It's got like the separated liquid, which is really nice and rich color. So because of demo purposes for this class, I use straight gel color. If you have leftover red, I highly recommend that you start with some of that leftover red, add a little bit of new, and then add like a couple new drops, because then you get the most out of any previous like rich colors that you mix up. In fact, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to show you. So I'm going to use this. I'm going to cut off the end. I've got a garbage over here, which I'm going to just make sure that sometimes the liquid comes out. All right, here's what we're going to do. See? So this was about the same, and it developed into that red. Okay, so we're going to use some of my previous work and efforts from this other icing, mix it in. Oh, and then it's going to be perfect. Okay, I can tell. So I'm going to get down here because I can see this icing is starting to dry on the edges, so it's safe. So you want to look for that swipe test. As long as your icing here starts to dry, then it's going to be fine. If you do add more drops of color, though, then you're going to need to do the swipe test again if you're concerned about it drying or not. Because yes, it's possible that if you add too much gel color, it won't dry. But we're safe, so because I did the swipe test. Okay, this is a gorgeous red, and we need a little bit of detail, and then we're going to make it into a thick flood. Sorry, I'm putting the cup right in your view there. Okay, I don't need a lot of the detail, so I've got it in this bag here. And then let's make, my bowl of icing is like in the way here, so let me move that. All right. Make sure you stay hydrated. Does everybody have like a drink on hand that you have this evening? What's everybody got on hand? I've got water. I have like clear water. I did have a little bit of caffeine earlier today. Okay. Let's add a little bit of water to this. What's everybody got for hydration tonight? What's your favorite? Okay. Drop me an emoji if you're having fun. I don't see too many questions, so must be going pretty good for you. Ooh, apple cider, Powerade. Yes, hydration. Do you want to know something? Okay. Do you want to know something? Is so many people who do cookies, somehow we think that we have to sacrifice ourselves for the cookies. But you got to remember, the cookies are there and all of this is here for us. So I think in the beginning, it's really easy to like get carried away and let the cookies kind of take over our sleep and our everything. And if it's truly filling our cup, like sometimes I get it, like we're just so passionate about it, but we also just have to make sure that we're taking care of ourselves and still getting sleep and hydration and not like messing with our health. Okay, this is getting there, still thick. I'm going to add a little bit more water. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so this is going to go around the edge of our Santa. So we got a little bit of red underneath his beard. Solely for the purpose, I just had to have red on him, so I made that happen. Okay. Ooh, that's good. That's a good one. That's going to be really nice. Okay, let's get that bagged up. Ooh, and then we're going to get our cookies. We're going to start laying some icing down. Okay, if you're in the Lolly's community, you might know what gems are. I talk about gems a lot. So we have, like, we do these lives. I call them an update gem be awesome, where I share an update. And my daughter is right here trying to sign language to me. Hold on just a second. Okay, so I'm getting okay. I have to do like, I got to tell you the story. I got to tell everybody the story. While we're finished bagging up your icing, okay, everybody, I'm going to tell you. Oh no, oh no. My brain forgets things really quickly these days, and my daughter is. You can ask me.
When are you gonna eat?
Oh, not for a while.
What time?
I don't know. I don't have a time. How long can everybody stay on with me tonight? Huh? We just got our icing mixed up, so we got some decorating to do now. Okay. There we go. Woo! Lori's still trying to lose the 10 pounds after taking the beginner class. I know. Oh, don't worry. You'll do this so long that you'll get sick of the cookies and you just love giving them away. I can't remember what I was going to share, guys. I'm sorry. It'll probably come back at some random time during tonight. Okay. So colors are ready enough for us to start getting some icing on. We got to line our cookie though first, okay? This is a really important step. So grab an edible food marker. I'm just going to grab a brown, I think. Let's grab a brown. I'm going to show you how to do this. This is Mrs. Claus. And here, we're going to grab this one. We're going to do it just like her. So I like to use the dot method when I teach, and when I do cookies, it just makes it really easy to get the lines on the cookie where you want them as a guide, right? Remember those dot to dots that we used to do growing up? Okay, that's what we're going to do here. Mrs. Claus, her top point is like in the center, but a little bit to the right, okay? And then she's got 3 swoops, and it's going to end right about there. So I'm going to draw a dot, and then same on the other side. It's going to swoop down, and then it ends right about there. So if you want to draw 2 points where those scallops are going to be, then that's great. But this is basically, we're going to draw the skin, or have the skin tone down here and then white up there, but it's all going to be in one layer. So if you want to do this, okay, now once that's on, I'm going to grab cute Mr. Claus, our cute little Santa. This one's a little bit easier. He's got the nose and it swoops down a little bit. So you can either, I would just indicate on the side. So a dot for this left side where the red, like this intersection right here, and then one on the other side. It looks like it's straight in the middle. It's not, it's a little bit above. And then it's actually, if you draw a dot right in the very center of the cookie and then do one like a 1/4 of an inch above that, that's about where you want it to go. Okay, so down here we're going to do red, and we're going to do skin tone up top. Okay, so let's lay down some icing. Is everybody ready? Is that okay? We ready to get some icing on these cookies? All right. So I'm going to put these finished ones off to the side, and then we're going to go ahead and get going on these. We have our... So I'm going to go through really quickly on how to cut a tipless bag. If you need additional help on this, I show this multiple times in multiple different ways in classes, and every class we have has a tutorial on exactly how to cut your bag, but you're going to get a tutorial right now. I make it flat, so every tipless bag has a seam, so I'm going to make it flat. And now, give me just a second, we're going to just zoom in even a little more. There we go. Okay. And I like to use my extra sharp scissors. So I make it flat, and then you cut the bag horizontal like this, okay? And then you just want to be careful. I'd like to cut it off to the side though. Okay, so now you can see, can you see that? Where I cut the end off, okay? And it's gonna pipe out, whoops, about that thick, okay? And you can go thicker if you want. This is, actually, I'm gonna get all my bags ready so that I don't have to cut while I'm trying to pipe. This is a skin tone flood, so I'm gonna do the same. I cut off to the side just so that little triangle that comes off at the end doesn't get anywhere near my flood. And then, so that's for Santa. Oh, we want our white. So we're gonna do our outline there, and then our white flood. Floods I always cut a little bit, tiny bit higher up. Because then you can get more flooded out in a shorter amount of time. Okay. So we're going to do Mrs. Claus first, and then I'm going to move to Mr. Santa, Mr. Claus, Santa. Okay. And when you get really good, you can do both at the same time. We're just going to do one at a time right now. Is that okay? Okay. A couple of questions coming in. Why do some of the bags flap before cutting while others cut them across the seam? Depends on the tip that you want, okay? So this is how I do it. I've been doing this for years. I've taught over 50,000 cookiers how to have success doing this. You definitely have to end up doing what works for you. So this is if you want just a straight line piping. If you are doing like a leaf tip or something, then you're going to cut it different. Yeah. How do you cut a bag with two seams or maybe one is a strong fold? Yeah, one's a strong fold. On a tipless bag like this, there should not be two seams. If you have a bag with two seams, it's probably not a tipless bag. And it's probably it's gonna work a little bit different. Okay, I am going to line the bottom edge, okay? So I'm attaching the icing, I'm lifting up, putting pressure on, laying the line down and stopping, okay? And I'm not gonna line that because I want the two to blend together, the white and the skin tone to blend together. I am, however, going to take my white outline, join it with that and finish the circle. Oh, that happens. Got a little air bubble in there. I'm just gonna pick that right up, wipe it on whatever rag or your apron or whatever, and keep going. Oh my gosh, I got a couple air bubbles. That's not good. Okay, that one's not that bad. Okay, now I'm gonna go ahead and I'm actually gonna start with the white. And this is when I'm going to go ahead and line my guide marks. And then I'm going to start filling it in. So I want to go around the edge first. You can see I'm filling it pretty decent amount. Now, because this is a thicker flood, and And we're technically doing wet on wet. We're doing 2 wet colors right next to each other. You can see wet on wet done a bunch of different ways. Usually it's a thinner consistency, but for what we're doing today, I didn't want to mix up another flood consistency. So I like to stick the scribe in and let's help settle that out. Okay. Here we go. So this is where doing some, you're agitating the icing a little bit. There we go. Okay. Might have a couple air bubbles. Make sure those are popped. Okay. So that is smooth. Now I'm going to go in with my skin tone. I'm going to follow the line. It doesn't have to be exact because we are going to go back over it with a detail consistency. Okay. I am using my Boo Boo Stick Scribe a little bit too. It has a little bit wider, kind of more robust point. And I feel like it can help me a little bit more settle this out and before I go to my other scribe. This is my Lolly Scribe, and it is a thicker gauge scribe, which I like usually most of the time. It helps move more icing. I have some scribes that are a thinner gauge, and so it's like you can do a little bit more detailed scribe work if you have to. Okay, now what I want to do is be careful, but you can shake it and settle it out. Okay. This is when I'm going to go to my other one. And if you have to pull to a point, then go up to one of these intersections right here. And you just kind of like barely lift it off of the cookie as you're still agitating the icing. Okay. Yay. All right. I'm turning my fan on and okay. And I'm going to gently put this over to the side so that it can start rusting over. And we are going to go to Santa. And we're going to start with skin tone up on the top side. Okay. And we're actually going to go ahead and just fill this one in. And we just did this on the other one, so I'll go pretty quick on this one. Okay, there we go. I just need a little help settling that out. Okay, now what we're going to do is you're going to grab a brush. And which one do I want? Oh, there we go, the flat one. I have a small flat brush. And then I have my thicker flood consistency. And I'm going to cut the end off of that. And we need just like an edge of red. Okay, then we're going to overlap that with his white beard. So I want to get a little bit of red down, then I'm going to use my brush to help it along. So I'm going to create the circle or the half circle. Then I'm going to go over it again. And I'm going to actually go ahead and pressure pipe another line next to it because I want a decent amount. So you're just getting about that much on there. And I've got a rag on the side. I'm constantly wiping my fingers off here because it will build up a little bit. Okay, so what I want to do is bring some of this red in so that it kind of smooths into the level of the cookie. If you leave the icing like this, where it's like you have to like fight with this big curve when you lay down the beard, and trust me, it'll be easier this way. So I'm going to just use this. Just be careful because this is wet skin tone color there. But hold on, I want to settle out some of that red. Okay, now you just want to bring some of that in. This is a little bit like an embroidery technique, but we do not need it to look like embroidery. We're just marrying the icing to the level of the cookie. It's going to be easier to overlap things. Okay, so I'm wiping that brush off, and then I'm going to just shake it just a little bit more. Okay. And all of that is going to get covered up. I have a few crumbs here from when I dug into it, but I'm going to overlap his beard there, so I'm not super worried about it. Okay, what we're going to do now is, I'm going to have our half-done Santa go hang out with Mrs. Claus while they crust over for a minute. And that should take, I don't know, we might need like, I don't know, 10 minutes under my fan here. We're going to get everything else ready. Man, what I was going to share earlier before my daughter interrupted me it has not come back yet. Okay, it means I'm not meant to share it. It's okay. Do you ever get frustrated with that? Like, you're like, what was I thinking about? What was it that was, I swear it was going through my head. If I don't write it down or say it or something, it goes away so fast. Oh, these boo-boo sticks, I hear you. They are hard to find right now. I'm working on some other sources. I'm actually working on getting them in our shop too. So if you have one, just hold on to it, okay? I've actually been looking for all of my extras to possibly do some giveaways for anybody that's looking for them, but I don't know why they're so hard to find right now. Okay. All right. So I'm going to, we won't need your red flood anymore for a while. You are going to need the detail. We're going to need our white detail. We're still going to need our white flood. So we'll need all the white ones. And let's mix up our black real quick too, just so we have that ready to go. Our skin tone is not completely done, so we do need those, but you're not going to use your red flood anymore. Let me grab my other bowl. So I've got another bowl here. I'm going to grab a little bit of icing. We're going to get our black just ready to go. You don't need a lot. This one is actually easy if you have just a little bit. Black is actually one of the colors I don't mind doing like a tiny bit of. Okay, so if anybody is wondering what consistencies I have mixed up, so screenshot this. I'm going to bring it onto the screen for you. Okay, so we have of the color and consistency chart. These are the ones we're using for these cookies today. Why is that? Okay, hold on. Okay, it's these right here. So we're using all three consistencies of white. We've got both of the red, both of the skin tone and black. Okay, the browns and the green we're using on Elfie and Rudolph in day 2. So make sure you come back for day 2. All right, this is, oh my gosh, you guys, it's like 3 tablespoons of icing. So I've got 3 drops of super black. I don't like my black getting, it ends up drying black if you just mix it up to like a charcoal color. So believe it or not, the cookies, the finished samples I've been showing you that look like they're black, I had charcoal icing. This is a little light. So that was what, 3 drops did I do? Okay. 1. Okay, so a few more drops. I put 3 more drops in. Okay. And this one is going to stay, it's going to be a sticky detail. So I'm going to put a couple of drops in of water. Oh, I didn't mention this at the beginning, but I'm glad you all are still on. I have a surprise for you at the end, like a gift for you at the end. And I meant to mention that at the beginning, but I'm glad you're all still here. So stick around to the end because I have a gift for you. Okay, this is going to be a good consistency, but that needs, I would just want that to develop a little bit so I can get a better sense of how charcoal-y it's going to be. So I have a paper towel. I'm just going to set this back here for a minute. All right. So take a minute to clean up your station. I'm going to grab a little bit of water here. I'm keeping an eye on my cookies. I just need them crusted over. I need them crusted over just enough to lay down the next layer. Okay, Deborah, the sticks, probably what we're using here, the Boo Boo sticks. It's called typically a Boo Boo stick or a cookie craft tool. Sometimes it's got a little scraper on the end. Super handy. All right. I love the gifts too, ladies. I'm so excited to share it with you. I actually have a bunch. I have a bunch of gifts coming for the holidays, Black Friday. So, all right. While my cookies are drying over here, okay, shouldn't be too much longer, and they'll have just enough crust for us to get our details on. Like, we're going to be going straight into details with Mrs. Claus, which is really fun because one of the things I wanted to make sure is that these were cookies that didn't take like days to do, right? So we're doing them all in this one session. And gosh, man, I was thinking back to when I started doing cookies. Oh my gosh, the amount of hours I think that I spent going through videos and learning things and trying out new things was pretty insane. Like there were no like big cookie communities and groups and things. I think like, you know, you could find cookiers and things online, but it was a few years before 2020 even. Gosh, when did I start? 2020? Was it 2017? Yeah. But I remember thinking back, like after I started selling my cookies, Cottage Bakery, eventually starting to do classes, man, I remember thinking like, I wish there was like one spot to learn a bunch of different things. Cause I was having to like hop around to so many different places online. And funny enough, YouTube was not one of the main places that I learned how to do cookies. I know that's an option now. And some of you are watching me here on YouTube, but it's kind of crazy how far I think the cookie industry has come. But especially, I remember thinking, I wish there was like one place where I could go for everything cookies. And there's so many things to learn. There's so many cute designs. There's new techniques. There's tried and true techniques done in different ways. And so after 2020 hit, do y'all know that my story about how I even like put Cookie Camp out? Because I started to do cookies because of Micah. My youngest son, he was in the hospital. He was born with CHD. So he was born with a lot of heart troubles, and we spent a lot of time in the hospital. A lot of you know that. That was why I started doing cookies. But the reason that I started Cookie Camp was gosh, a number of things. Like I just knew that I had to put it out there. And when you know that you're meant to do something and you don't do it, you know you're going to regret it for the rest of your life, right? I had that moment, and that's why I broke through a lot of my own. I had to get out of my own way to put Cookie Camp out there. It was in 2020. Everything was shut down. It was like the first one of my very let's see, I'd started teaching classes, but I remember my March class had to be canceled because it was COVID and I couldn't teach in person. I was like, well, how am I supposed to like reach people? Because I just know that I have to. And so then I figured out that I could put an online course out there and teach people how to decorate cookies. And so I did. And that's when I just couldn't believe how many people could come together. That's when like this whole Lollies community really started. And it was so cool to see all of you coming together to cheer each other on, help one another. I mean, this Lollies cookie community is like beyond my wildest imagination of what could happen when we do cookies together. Like it's so cool. And yeah, after Cookie Camp, it was kind of funny. We got so many requests from people like, okay, what's next? Like, I've learned how to do cookies. Can you teach me this? Can you teach me airbrush? Can you teach me all these other things? And I was like, yeah, I can. Okay. I could not build fast enough. I could not film classes fast enough. So now a lot of you know we have them available, lots of different classes available, but especially what I told you before about, I wish that there was like one place where all of them could be. So I created it. We ended up creating what's now called Royal Kitchen Crew. It's been closed for a long time. Some of you may have heard the rumor that, guess what? I've been working on creating some new seats at the Royal Table. I really want to serve you all at the highest level possible inside Royal Kitchen Crew. So anyway, these decorating Christmas cookies is so much fun. If you're having fun, just wait till the doors open for Royal Kitchen Crew. It has been closed for a while. I am opening up some seats. In a few days, you'll know exactly how many and if you're going to be able to get in on that. But if you are interested, you can go to this link. We'll post it right now and make sure that you're on the list because I just need like a final count of people that are interested so I know how many seats I can open up. I'm trying to get as many people, be able to open up as many seats as possible. But it's really fun. And there's a lot of different, not only classes included, but I'll actually go through a couple of the things right now because this is the gift that I have for you. Has a little bit to do with Royal Kitchen Crew, which I'll share with you at the end. But we have not only access to 42 plus classes now, we have Cookie Flix in there, which some of you have heard of. It's like the Netflix for cookiers and has all sorts of tutorials and extra helps and tips and tricks in there. There's also, oh my gosh, there's a business starter guide. There's a cookie beginner success guide. So if you're like a beginner cookier, you can still have success inside Royal Kitchen Crew. And then we also, one of my very favorite things about this, not only doing cookies with you is the community, but like we have a private members only community where all the members can, it's just a place where we can gather as members and communicate with each other. And I have extra tutorials and cookie chats and instructors that I bring in there. So it's really fun. But make sure that you're on the list. I was hoping that we were going to be able to release the seats today. It's not quite ready yet. So be ready for Black Friday. It is coming. So make sure that you're on the list for Royal Kitchen Crew. Even if it's just of interest to you, like it's not a commitment at all. It just means that you're going to be the first to get the message that the doors are open. So yeah, there's some pretty fun, like actual gifts that I will be mailing you. So I'm going to tell you about one of them at the end because it's almost ready to show you, but I gotta wait. I can't wait. Okay. What other questions do you have? My cookies. Ooh, they're almost ready for me to start getting some other details on and start putting on that white Santa's beard. Super fun. Oh, another option that I did not put on the prep list that I want to share with you for the eyes. Okay, I did want to talk about this. So the black that we're just mixing up. Let me get this on. Okay, so the black that we're mixing up here is for our eyes, which we're using piping on. But there's another option that I want you to know about. Oh, I can reach them. There are these PME sugar pearls. And you'll see a lot of talk about these kind of black pearls bleeding. This PME brand is the best, okay? These ones do not bleed. So if you've ever had trouble with that, this is like, they changed the packaging. These are the same thing. So if you see them in here, these are also available on my Amazon list. You can find them in a few different like supply shops online, but PME pearls, these are the 4, hold on. Is it the 4 millimeter? It doesn't say, but they're this size and you can see, okay? So you can also use these for the eyes if you prefer. Like if you don't want to mix up the black, then you can use that. Also the pens, the pen that we're using is a 0.3. I've got a 0.3 fine tip Tweets Cookie Connection. It's hard to find. My favorite pen, my favorite fine tip is Cake Craft or Rainbow Dust. But right now it's really expensive to get this one in the black. This is my chocolate color. I have all sorts of colors, but the black is the one that I typically use most. So if you ever find this Cake Craft pen, it's another one that I'm sourcing right now, but it's expensive. So this, well, normally it's not, but right now it is expensive. Not sure why. So the Tweets Cookie Connection, this is the one that's on the prep list. And this is also a really good one, really good fine point. Okay. If you are doing, I would say if you're doing cookies for the holidays or in bulk, if you sell cookies and you do a bunch of them, like you're doing, lots of cookies and you need lots of eyeballs, buy multiples of these. It is awful when you run out and you're like, oh no, I don't have any more. And then you have to mix up black icing for eyeballs. So they're just really good to have on hand. And you can mix them in like a sprinkle mix too, but they will not bleed. How many of you have trouble with color bleed? Anybody have trouble with color bleed? Okay. Okay, so let me know if you have trouble with color bleed. There's a couple things you can do for that. How long do you mix your icing? Oh, Sue, it'll tell you on the recipe, but mine anywhere from like 4 to 6 minutes on like medium, high. I do that in my KitchenAid. So this is like my icing mixer down here. Is 10 minutes the standard wait time for crust? Yeah, it's borderline. Like I want to get back to decorating. So I'm going to fudge it a little bit. I'm going to show you, I'm going to be really careful, but yeah, the longer you can let it crust over 20 minutes is great. We can hang out for another 10 minutes and chit chat. I've got stories to tell. So, I mean, you all let me know, but as soon as I feel like it's safe enough to start doing details and be gentle with it, then I'm going to pull them back over. And it depends on your fan and your airflow too. So I've only got my fan going from one direction. So it could be faster. I don't have my dehydrator set up too. So you could put these on a tray, throw them in the dehydrator. It could be like 5 minutes and they'd be crusted over. Next time I'm going to set that up. Yeah. How do you keep the edible ink from drying out? Oh, so make sure the lids are on. Sometimes they will dry out if you don't use them for a long time. This Tweets Cookie Connection pen, I have noticed if I use it and it feels a little dry, then I'll just dab it on like a damp paper towel. And you can see it'll start to come back. Yeah. Yeah, the pen. So the fine point that I love the Cake Craft ones, but I don't have one in black right now. And I like the eyelashes on Mrs. Claus to be black. my other one that is also a really good pen, Tweets Cookie Connection. This one dries out a little more often for me, but it's still a really good pen. And you can just bring it back with a damp paper towel. Okay, Debbie, yes. Tutorial on how to mix icing from the beginning. Yes, I actually just filmed that, and that will be coming out soon, probably over on YouTube. It's also going to be included with every single class. So every class in that you have access to, so it'll be inside the Royal Kitchen Crew. And we're adding that to all of the Lolly's classes too. So you'll get an in-depth tutorial on how to mix the icing literally straight from ingredients inside the mixer bowl, what it should look like, how long to mix it, all of that. Oh yeah, Marty, a dehydrator, cookie dehydrator. We get a lot of questions about that. A dehydrator is great for drying cookies faster. You want it on the lowest heat setting. And once you work it into your flow, it can be super helpful. Oh, yes. Ashley, the cookie or Netflix thing I was talking about, it's called Cookie Flix. It is inside the Royal Kitchen Crew membership. So it's like it's an additional dashboard of tutorials, tips, tricks, extra mini classes and things. So we have that inside our membership. All right, Linda, is RKC different than Rockstar Cookiers? Yes. RKC is our term for Royal Kitchen Crew. So that's the membership. You can do it either monthly or yearly, and you have access to all the decorating classes, all of Cookie Flix, all the extras and bonuses and gifts and things too that come with it. Yeah, and if you if you guys want to know more about it, just make sure that you're on the list. So there is a link. There should be a link here. It'll just add you to the wait list where you'll be the first to get the message on Friday as soon as doors open for that. And then you can go check out the details and what plan works better for you. Do you have a class on airbrushing? Oh, yay, fun. Laura, you're getting an airbrush for Christmas. Awesome. Yes, we do have classes on airbrushing. I have an airbrush masterclass. I don't know if that is available single by itself yet. I'm not sure. You'll have to look in at lollishomekitchen.com if that's in the shop. That is our one masterclass on airbrushing, but I have lots of classes that include airbrushing in them. In fact, inside the membership, we have a fast pass for techniques where if there's a specific technique you're looking for, it'll tell you exactly which class has that. So it's super helpful. All right, did I answer all the questions? Okay. Oh my gosh, Karen, tell us about your first customer. Okay. My first customer. That's such a great question. So I don't remember my very first customer exactly. I would say my first few customers. I'm pretty sure I had a couple of friends. I had some friends from church that ordered. My gosh, I would have to go back and look at the pictures of the cookies. That is the thing that reminds me, and all the memories come back of oh, I remember when I was working on that, and I remember them coming to pick it up. Gosh, it was back in 2018 where I started selling, because 2017, Halloween of 2017 was when I started really getting into them. And then Christmas, I was we gave gifts, cookie gifts for Christmas. That's when people were like, oh my gosh, you made these? What? And I was like, yeah, it was the first realization I had that I was creating something that seemed amazing to people. So my first customer, because it wasn't until, it was after that Christmas, I made cookies for Nora's birthday in January, and people asked to start buying them. And then I started getting customers. I'm going to have to go back and look at the pictures. That takes me back. Oh my gosh. Yeah, it was only a matter of months, honestly. You get into it and you can see, if you go into I think that was the question that I didn't answer fully. what RKC was versus Rockstar. Rockstar Cookier Society is our Facebook group. So it's our main Facebook group, and you can go ahead and join there if you're not in there already. And it's a really fun place. So I know we have acronyms for stuff inside the lolly world. We have UGBAs, we have RKC, RCS, which is Rockstar Cookier Society. It's pretty fun. If you're not in Rockstar Cookier Society, you've got to join. I mean, plus just the support and if you have any questions about whatever you're doing with your cookies, you ask it inside there. If you're in the members group, you ask it in there, and like there's just so many people ready, willing to help, and I'm in there as much as I can be in there. So, okay. Oh, amazing. Great. Let me make sure that I can answer all your questions. Oh my gosh, Ashley, yes. Favorite sugar cookie recipe for Christmas orders. Oh my gosh, I do. I have I think it's a peppermint crunch one. Gingerbread. Oh my gosh, I love gingerbread. I have some molasses ones. The maple molasses, actually, that's a newer one. Speaking of recipes, oh my gosh. Okay. How much can I tell you about we do have some special recipe deals that we are having for Cyber Monday coming up really soon. So keep an eye out for that too. What else we have? There's like a cherry pistachio one too. So all of those holiday recipes are going to be available in the shop. What day are we on this week? Really soon, in just a few days. So make sure that you're on our list. Okay, if you just even go put your name on the wait list, it's going to add you to our list, so you'll get you'll get all the notifications for our Cyber Monday deals, all of our holiday deals, Black Friday deals, all of that too. Is the Airbrush Masterclass in RKC? So Bev, the master classes are separate classes that can be added additionally. If you are specifically interested in the airbrushing masterclass, you can message us. I'm trying to think if it's available by itself. Again, we have so many classes, and I would have to go and check. It is not part of RKC. Like there's a selection of master classes alone that are not part of RKC. Like I said, those are additional. But there are lots of classes that are included in RKC that do teach airbrushing. And the reason for that is because there's different levels to each technique and skill. So we have a lot of people interested in, I want airbrushing included in the designs that I'm doing versus I want to become a master level at airbrushing or at florals or at like a specific technique. So inside the membership, actually this upcoming year, I will be doing more new trending techniques. We're going to be doing a mix of live classes and pre-recorded. So most of the classes inside Royal Kitchen Crew are pre-recorded. You can watch them anytime at your leisure. So anyway, more on that coming. Oh yes, Karen. So you did do the cherry pistachio. Customers love them. Awesome. Yeah, they're great. If you sell cookies, my recipes are so great for any customers looking for like gourmet sugar cookie recipes. I've got a couple of my dough makers that like that is their thing. They offer their gourmet sugar cookies and their customers go crazy over them. But you definitely can use them in your cookie business. Okay, so you can use the recipes, make your cookies out of them, sell those. Yeah, totally. Tamara, I have taken a couple of cookie classes, but that was after I became, I would say, at least intermediate level. I'm self-taught. I taught myself how to do cookies. But I went to CookieCon a couple years, and I took a couple of extended classes. What is her name? Oh, it'll come to me. Yeah. So everything else I spent tons of time and hours and batches and batches and batches of royal icing to figure out all the mistakes so that I could teach you how to not make those mistakes. So what is Cookie Camp? Great question, Sue. Cookie Camp is our base course in how to bake and decorate sugar cookies like a pro. So it goes into exactly how to mix up the dough, roll out the dough, bake the cookies so that they're the even thickness, and so you get your cutout cookies just right. And then all of the fundamentals and basics of decorating, your royal icing consistency, drying your cookies, adding colors and details. So Cookie Camp is, if you've not done a lot of cookies before, or kind of really feel like beginner, Cookie Camp is what you need for sure. It's a really good place to start. So, do I have a gluten-free recipe? Yes, I do. Rose, we do have a gluten-free recipe. There's a lot of, so most of my recipes allow for really easy substitutions of a good gluten-free flour mix. My recommended is Better Batter or Joules gluten-free. Joules gluten-free is good, it's a little more tender. Better Batter flour, if you do decide that, like, share it or ask in the group, because we have a discount code for you for that. But Better Batter flour is a really good all-purpose gluten-free flour. And the trick with that is you just switch it out. So if you take my cookie recipe that you get with this class, you switch out the flour. Just make sure that you let your dough rest for 30 minutes before you actually roll it out and do your cutouts. So that's the trick with gluten-free flour, is most people don't let it rest, and then you can have issues. You also don't need quite as much gluten-free flour when you switch out, it out. Yeah. Oh, awesome, Marty. Yeah. Yeah, Cookie Camp. I know so many of you are here because of Cookie Camp, or so many people in our community are here because of Cookie Camp. I think we have over 50,000 people have gone through Cookie Camp, and we have thousands more who have been through our classes. We have currently thousands in our membership, and I'm opening up more spots. So, okay, let's check on our cookies. Y'all ready for that? I could chit chat all day long, so thank you for letting me. But I see that we have this that is ready for some white icing. So you guys okay if we dive back into this and start getting some more icing on here? We got to get these done before everybody starts yawning, okay? Because it's going to be bedtime soon. How many of you are on the East Coast or is later? I'm on Central Time, so okay. Let's look at Santa. Cute little Santa. All right, so we're going to do like a wavy line here, and then we're just going to fill in this white, and then the mustache will cover those lines that go in the middle, okay? And this is going to crust over too. But we already have our white here, and then I've got the outline. So all right, sometimes if you end up with this line that you don't love, like I'm not loving this right here, just going to go back over it. There we go. That feels a little better. All right, then I'm just going to fill it in, except I've got a little chunk there that I want smoothed in. I'm going to get in as close as I can for you. All right, I want his beard to be nice and plump, so we are doing it this way. All right. Okay, this is when sometimes you'll just get in the zone and then you just go with it. And if you want his beard to, you know, look a little different or have different curves to it, that's totally fine. And we are doing smoothed out icing here. But if you're struggling at all with your consistency and you're like, it's just not settling out, then turn it into a swirly beard. You can, there's a number of things you can do that even if you're like, trying to do a specific design, sometimes, you know, it doesn't work out exactly like we planned. So we just got to roll with it. Okay. So this will be covered up here. So if I got to come to a point here, then at least it's going to get covered up. Okay, great. So I'm going to put this back under the fan and then we're going to move to Mrs. Claus. Oh, yay. There we go. All right. So something we're going to do before we put her cute hair on and everything else is we got to get these circles down. Okay. And I want to be sure. Yeah. So that's the right piping thickness for her glasses. And that's what we need this big metal tip for. Okay. So we are not piping anything out of it. This is so that we can get these awesome circles and they're going to look perfect. And you're going to be so proud that they look nice and round. Okay. All right. So what I'm going to do is our eye is going to get a little bit fooled because the hair is off center. We want the hairline to be off center, right? So that's a little to the right. But we want to draw an imaginary line of where the center of these glasses are going to be. So I would say the nose is going to be there. The glasses are going to go right above, okay? And so that means our eyeglasses need to be right here and overlap the hair just a little bit, okay? So given those little dots that I just made, then I'm going to put my head over top. Hopefully you can still see. And I'm just going to gently let that sit on there. It is, see, okay, and it's going to make just enough of an indentation or a mark for me to see the circle. Can you see that? And obviously this is barely crusted over, okay? I'm going to do the same on the other side. So look how close my circles are on Mrs. Claus though, okay? So that you want to get just that close. But I like that it overlaps the hair. So I'm just going to let that sit, barely let it press into there. Okay. And again, you don't want it smushed down in there. You just want enough of a line that you can follow to get a circle. Okay. And then we're going to go ahead. I like to start from the bridge, the nose bridge. And then I'm going to let that start coming down. This is a really slow process here. So something that's going to be helpful for you too, I do have some practice sheets that you could grab. Some piping practice sheets if you want to practice. You can do circles and things too, and then it's guided. So that would be helpful for you if you want to build some confidence with your piping shapes and piping skills. You can grab that. I'm trying to think of where the link is to that. Allison, will you see if we can get the link to those piping practice sheets up here too? Okay, look at that. Oh, cute. We have nice little circles. And no one is going to know that you used a guide. Look at that. Okay, the other thing I want to do is I am going to pipe the bridge of the glasses, okay? Okay, there we go. All right, awesome. Now, I want this to dry. I do want this to dry because then we're going to do silver before we do our hairlines, okay? The one thing that I can do is my little, I like to do the little heart mouth at the end though. We're going to do that at the end. It just really makes it come together. I want to evaluate my black. Where did my black go? Because we're going to use that for the eyes. So hold on a hot minute. Hold on. I'm going to put this under the fan again. Let's take a look at this. Oh, yeah. Okay, cool. Guess what? This is going to dry looking like it's black. Okay. It is not jet black here. Like to my eyeballs right here. It's like, it's really dark and it looks like a charcoal color. Totally fine. Okay. But I don't want it super stiff. It still feels a little bit thick. There we go. Yeah. Just want it a little bit stickier than that. Okay, cool. There we go. So that way, when we do the eyes and you kind of shake your piping bag a little bit, it won't be like super, it won't come up to a weird point or anything. It'll look good. It'll look really good. Okay, so this is going in a bag. And that is it for icing, folks. All right, V, the tip that I used for these, it's a 4B. It's just a big one. So it's a Wilton 4B, or you can get any other one that's an inch. It's an inch. Is it 3/4 or is it full inch? I don't have my ruler here. I always forget how wide this one is. Or if you just have a round cookie cutter that's that size too, that would work. You just need like something round. Good question, Patty. How do you get the color off your hand? You just keep washing your hands. You don't. Your hands will be stained for a little bit. But actually, I'd notice within a day, like, I don't know, by the time I remember that my hands are dyed, like the color's gone. Okay. Okay. So guess what? We are waiting on Santa a little bit. Okay. So Santa's beard, I need him to be a little bit more crusted before I put the mustache layer on. Okay. So we're going to wait on that just a touch. And Mrs. Claus's glasses will be dry in 2 minutes. And then we're going to paint. So let's talk about silvers. Okay. Can we talk about edible metallic silver for a minute? Who loves sparkle on their cookie? Who has ever struggled with good looking metallics on their cookie? Or who is interested? Who's like, I don't know, but sounds good. Sounds cool. Okay. Oh, Carla, toothpaste takes the color off. I will have to try that. I'm going to bathe my hands in toothpaste. I'll try it out. Okay. Metallics. Over my years in cooking, I have tried all the golds. Where is my tray of golds? Hold on. Okay, I literally have an entire tray here. There they are. Hold on. Here we go. So, okay. So all of these golds. We've got Bakel, different highlighter dusts, Sterling Pearls Super Gold, TMP Super Gold. There's Roxy and Rich. There's Sweet Sticks. There's more Bakel. More Bakel. Okay, there's so many different kinds. There's luster dust. There's sparkles and everything. So I have found a couple that I absolutely love and that give you that really nice color of metallic. Okay. I'm going to give you a little extra tip today. I was not planning on going into metallics, but I'm a little obsessed with the Generated Cake stuff right now. TMP Super Gold has always been a good one. Here's the thing. There are FDA requirements. There's non-toxic. There's all that. Here's what I'm going to tell you though. Well, for anybody wondering, there's highlighters, luster dust, and then there's like edible edible luster for painting. I have a edible dust guide. Allison, I don't know where we might have a link for that too. Let's get the link for that too. Or it might just be in the Rockstar group. If you're not in our Facebook, Rockstar Cookier Society, should be able to find it in there too. But it's a guide to like what dust can be used for what. Generate Cakes, Dazzle Dust. Whoa, where does it go? Antique Gold is phenomenal and is, by all intents and purposes, safe to use on some details. I don't slather gold on anything, and if I do, it's more for decoration. The silver as well. So Generate Cakes, Dazzle Dust, her silver, and this is not, there's like a silver glittery one, but this is silver metallic luster, and this is the Antique Gold edible metallic luster. Okay. This is also something I'm just obsessed with, and it's so good. So on the prep list, okay, I actually had run out of my silver. I ended up using this silver highlighter luster dust from Bakel, which works really well. That's what Little Miss Claus has, Mrs. Claus, excuse me, has on here. Okay, it gives you, we just needed a little bit of silver. Today, I'm going to be using the Generate Cakes, and I'm going to show you what that looks like. Okay, without painting a whole cookie, this is the gold. This is that Antique Gold. And I think I have a little different lighting from up top than you can see from the side. But it is like, it looks like gold leaf when you put it on, and it's gorgeous. So just to show what that looks like. I do use Everclear to make a paint. Okay, so I'm going to grab, you're welcome to use the silver highlighter luster dust. It'll give you enough shine for those glasses. This, oh, hold on a second. There we go. Can you guys give me just 1 second here? We're going a little longer. We're going a little longer tonight. So let me just change one thing out here. You can see everything better. All right, and then we're going to mix up that paint. So if you have your Everclear, if you want to mix up the paint, even if you're not doing cookies and you just want to like try mixing this up and getting the consistency of your paint right, I highly suggest this. Okay, so I'm going to open this up. I'm going to add a little bit of the powder here. And then okay. So I've got Everclear in this bottle. I love these bottles. You can even get a smaller one. I think they're linked on the prep list for this. And I'm going to add a few drops. I don't know, probably did about 8 drops there. And then I've got my brush, little brush here. I'm just going to mix that together. Everclear does evaporate really fast. So this is going to give us more of a like silver coated look. Okay, now oops, I got to use 2 hands to move this over because I don't want to dent the icing on Mrs. Claus. There we go. Okay. There she is. So I'm going to take, you don't want it super drippy, okay? Because the drips sometimes can go down the sides and end up on the base of the cookie, which you don't want. So you want it, this, I'm living on the edge tonight, guys, and I am obviously allowing a little bit less dry time than I normally would so that I could keep showing you these steps, but allow it to dry a little bit longer. But it's dry enough for me to put some of this silver on. So this is more of a nice silver. It coats more. This luster dust, the Bakel, it's a little bit more sparkly, but it's not as fine. So now I'm going to go the other side. Okay. So we've got these painted up, and with all the details on them, we'll take a look at them side by side. But it is a little bit, you know, it has a little bit more coverage, but this Bakel highlighter luster dust is a little bit sparklier. Okay. Let's get some more details on here. How does that sound? I want to get our hair on here. So we're going to go detail. This is where our detail consistency of our white comes in. Cindy, yes, I used Everclear. All right, and the name of this Dazzle Dust, I was talking about this Bakel silver highlighter luster dust. That's linked on the prep list. And then there's also the Dazzle, the Generate Cakes Dazzle Dust, AKA the silver edible metallic luster. Okay, so I'm going to practice just a couple of lines here. I want this a little bit thinner. I don't want a super thick line. All right. So the first one I'm going to do is I'm going to do the hairline. So I'm going to swoop and swirl up to here, and then I'm going to come back down. And I am going over top of the glasses, but it creates it makes it look like her hair is in front of the glasses. It's kind of fun. And it also just helps finish off the line between the hair and the face. So if there was any weird wet on wet that happened there, then this kind of covers that up. All right, and then we're going to make the bun. We're going to do some swirls up top. To make it reminiscent of her cute little bun that she has. Okay, there we go. Now let's grab our black icing. We're going to do our eyes. Then we're going to put a cute little lips on her. Okay, what consistency is this? I think for the white, I had detail. So this was the white detail consistency, and then the black, we just had the one consistency of that. It's like a sticky detail consistency. So for the black, I am making sure that it's a really thin cut line, okay? So it's a thin line that I'm piping out there because I'm going to put a little pressure on there for the eye. And if your bag black is cut too wide, then it's going to not look how you want, okay? Okay. All right. So I'm going to draw the first one over here, and then I'm going to match the other side, okay? So if you look at the images of the cookies, or if I just look at this cute one right here that I already have done. So it's about right there. So I'm going to air draw it before I actually put a line down, and I'm pressure piping up and down just a little bit. There we go. Now I'm going to do the same on the other side. So I'm going to air. You actually can draw it with a scribe if you want. I think that's how I did it before. So if you're nervous about where to put it, it's going to go straight across over here, start there, and end there. That looks about right. Okay. Oh my gosh, how cute is that? How cute is she? Okay, we need to get some red lips on. And we're just doing a heart. Cute little heart lips on Mrs. Claus. And then same, it's a small cut. Okay. And we're going to pressure pipe. Let's practice. Can we practice that little heart? Pressure piping mean I'm going to pressure pipe some out, and then I'm going to drag it to a point and lift up, and then same pressure pipe and then lift up. So we're just going to make a cute little heart for her lips. There we go. All right, the one step that I am going to wait on is her eyelashes, because it's not quite dry enough, okay? But I am going to show you what I do, because this we don't do any of this line pen drawing on Santa. Oh, no, there's one other step too. So where is my, hold on, I have another cookie. I always have these to be able to show you, okay? So I'm going to demo on here. When this cookie is dry enough for you, you're going to apply it to Mrs. Claus and Santa, because we have the cheeks as well, all right? So let's say we had some eyes. Let's pretend that these are her eyes, okay? Now, when that's dry, you're just going to take your pen, and just like a regular eyelash, we're going to go from the eye and up and out. And you can do 2 or 3, okay? And then the other side, depending on if you're left-handed, that left-hand side is going to be easier for you. If you're right-handed, you're going to have to kind of angle your hand over, because I personally, I will show you here. Going from the left to the right where you end at the eye makes it not look very even. And so I like to do the same, where I start at the eye and then go out at the angle. Okay, and so then you do your eyelashes that way. And let's do the cheek. Okay, the cheek. So we have pink. I've got some sterling pink pearl. Sterling pearl in the color pink, excuse me. This is on the prep list for this, okay? So if you're watching, just make sure that you have the prep list for this. The link is here. It's all, you can find it pretty much on everywhere right now. All right, so I'm going to put a little bit of that just in the cap. And then I've got a small, round, kind of stubby brush. And I'm going to dab it in here. I'm going to tap it off. And then wherever you want your cheek is, you're going to just put it on, and you're going to move it around. And then you're going to do the same on the other cheek. Okay, hold on. I'm going to add a little bit more. All right. Now you can blow it off, or if you're selling these cookies, then you can use an airbrush, or if the eye is dry, you can actually use like a big fan brush or something and brush off any excess lightly. Okay, so this kind of fan brush. This is from Borderlands. It's a gorgeous brush. Love it. Love it. I wish I had a coupon code for you for this, but I don't. So this one, you can brush off any excess, and you're left with just the lightest, prettiest, cheekiest little pink color on the cheeks, okay? I love this sterling pearl pink for that. Some people like a more, where's the pink? So you're welcome to use a different rose color. You're welcome to use whatever other color you want, but try this out first, because it's pearlized, it also gives some extra like sheen and shine, so you can tell where those cute little cheeks are, okay? So once she's dry, then my cheeks, they're going to go right at the edges of the glasses. So right there and right there, and then I'll put the eyelashes on too. Okay? So let's finish up our Santa. Okay? So I'm going to leave these guys here. I'm going to leave my pink right there. And let's see what I get done with our Santa man. We got to get him ready. He's got a lot of work to do over the next few weeks, you know? Okay, we're really up close here. So you guys good with that? We're getting really up close for you. Can everybody see okay? Okay. Awesome. Oh, thank you. Hold on, her nose. I cannot forget, I knew something was a little off. We can finish the nose. So I'm gonna grab the flood. This is the part where I actually evaluate my flood versus anything thicker, because sometimes the flood will thin out more than I want for certain things. Yeah, it's a little too thin. It's a little too thin for my comfort level right now. So I'm actually gonna use this detail. And her nose is right where I put that point, I put the, okay. So I'm going to use my scribe to just settle it out a little bit because it is a little thicker, but it's better than that flood that was feeling too thin. There we go. And there we are. She's got her nose on. I'll finish her cheeks later. All right. Santa, what are we going to do with you? Okay, right there. Well, first of all, he needs a big old mustache. So let's evaluate our consistencies right here. And this is our outline. Is that going to be too thick? I don't know. Yeah. So outline is going to be too thick for the whole thing. Sometimes at this stage, if the icing is sat a while, like the outline turns into like just the perfect consistency for this type of thing, but not right now. I am going to use the outline to draw his mustache outline, and then we're going to fill it in. Okay. So we're going to start from the center here. We're going to do a swoop all the way to this point, this intersection. And then same on the left, we're going to go to that intersection where all of those colors meet. All right. So I'm going to air draw. Actually, I'm going to use my scribe and draw a center point because that's all going to get covered up. But there's the center. Okay. Okay, so there's the top. And I'm going to swoop down with this one. Make sure that joins. Okay. Then we're going to do the same on the other side, and we're going to do our best to just swoop and match it. It's not as even as I would like. Okay, so this is where we redo it. There we go. That looks better. That looks much better. All right. So now we're going to take our nice thick flood, which we know has good icing integrity, so it's going to stay nice and puffy for us. There we go. And you are going to want to use your scribe to settle this out because it'll also help join the outline lines in, okay? And feel free to rotate it if you need to. Okay. Okay. All right, our mustache is on. I'm actually going to go ahead and put the eyes and everything on before the nose, just to give the mustache a little bit longer to dry. Okay, so we're going to do our eyes just like the other one, like we did with Mrs. Claus. And I'm actually going to draw top and bottom, and then try and be even on the other side too, which would be right there, top and bottom. Okay, let's take our black. There we go. Okay. And then I just wanted them to look as even as possible. One side just was not gripping onto the to the flood underneath. I could tell, so I wanted to fix it. Okay, now let's do our eyebrows. And we're just going to pressure pipe a little bit with the eyebrow. So if you watch right there, we're going to just push it out and then go down. Okay. There we go. And last but not least, for the hair, let's get some detail here. This is a little thick for me for the swirl. Not thick consistency-wise, but no, actually it's going to look cute. Not consistency-wise, I was thinking maybe I wanted like a little bit thinner detail line, but I like this. Okay, so we're going to start up here. We're just going to do a swirl. There we go. How cute is that? Oh my gosh. All right, nose. Because we're going to be using a detail consistency, I am going to do it right on top of what we have going on there. But we're going to practice. So hold on, I don't know if you can see that from the side view. So let's move. Okay, so we're going to really pipe it in. Okay, and then we will use our scribe to settle it out once it's on there. Okay. All right, so that's what we're going to do. So do a practice run if you need to. Okay. All right. So I'm going to hold my bag up straight up and down. Okay, so straight up and down like this. And we're just going to start putting it on. And I wasn't just holding it and pumping, right? You know, because the mustache is still wet, I wanted to be a little more delicate. You guys are getting like a little bit of a extra class here where I always say you got to learn the rules to break the rules. I'm breaking some rules today. I hope you don't mind. This is not okay. Hold on. I want this to settle out nice without jogging the underneath layer too much, you know? Okay, so if you are doing circles and it's kind of moving things too much, you can just do this. You can just tap it like that. Okay, all right. So once this is dry, then I would do the cheeks like I showed you already with Mrs. Claus. But congratulations. You have now completed the cutest little Santa and Mrs. Claus cookies. Or you will later when you do this. I know some of you are waiting till later to actually do your cookies. How fun! Oh my gosh, this is the part where I just want to like scream with excitement, because when you see it all come together and when you see your final cookies all done, like it's so satisfying. I think that's something that I loved. So I have been a graphic designer for a long time, and it lends itself really well to doing cookies, but that was my absolute favorite part. It's still my favorite part with cookies, is seeing it all come together and like the creativity that you have like actually come to life in a design iced like fun cookie like this. Is so fun, so satisfying. Yay! Okay, who's doing 150 cookies? Oh, I can't see now. Oh my gosh, Patty, you've been busy. You did 150 cookies. Can't wait to decorate them. Okay, those of you that have had problems with cratering on areas like the nose. Okay, so this is where, all right, so that you can still see the cookies. So this is where the integrity of your icing comes in. You will inevitably see people doing swirls underneath of like a thicker consistency, or poking the icing underneath. I don't know. I don't know where that comes from. I think just we get nervous because, oh no, what if it's going to crater? There's if you add a little bit of extra meringue powder to your icing, it's going to help make sure things don't crater. What happens is if you have icing in a small area, well, when the water evaporates, there's not enough icing structure to hold that up. And so you want to make sure that you have your icing not too thin, right? Of course, you don't want it super thin flood because that is diluting your icing with more fluid. But thick icing can also crater if you don't have enough meringue powder and powdered sugar ratio in your icing. Okay. So fresh icing is always best. If you think you're going to come in with using completely day old icing and getting super puffy icing to stay, that's very, very rare. You have to add at least, I would say you got to go with fresh icing. I mixed up this batch literally 30 seconds before I hit live. So I strongly advise, if you want puffy icing, that you use fresh icing. Add a little bit of extra meringue powder. If you use my recipe, it already has a little extra meringue powder in it, but that's really going to help you not have a cratering situation. So hope that helps. How much is a little more meringue powder? 1 to 2 tablespoons. Depending on like Jeannie's Dream meringue powder is already pretty thick. I usually don't have cratering issues with that. My recipe calls for Americolor, which is also a good brand of meringue powder. Yeah, okay. Pamela, great. Yes. Who's ready for day 2? Okay, we finished our cute 2 of our North Pole characters. I have 2 more that I'm so excited to show you how to decorate, and I hope you do it with me. Coming up on day 2 of our Christmas cookie party, decorating Christmas cookies with me. I'm going to show you, we're going to decorate Elfie. So we're going to get a beautiful green color. We're going to mix that up on day 2. And then we're also going to do a cute version of Rudolph. If you decorated cookies with me last year, we did some cute, we did a version of Rudolph as well. So we're doing another version of Rudolph in a totally different style, which is really fun. All right. This is what we do here at Lolly's. We decorate cookies for Christmas. 'Tis the season of cookies. So I hope you had fun today. And don't let me forget to share with you this gift that I have for you. Let me see if I can show that to you. Okay, so some of you know, and if you don't know, we partner with Sweetly Cookie Cutters. They make all of the cutters for our Lolly's classes. And I worked with Megan over there to create a specific, design of a stencil that can go on a gingerbread cutter, so that we can make some cute little gingerbread houses. So this is an exclusive design I'm about to show you. It is nowhere else. It is specifically designed for Lolly's. And this is a gift that I'm giving inside the membership that opens up on Friday. Okay, so it's this design right here. Hold on, let me turn on my other. Oops. You guys see that? Okay, so this is the design. Super cute. And I'm going to show you what it looks like on the cookie. So this is cute little gingerbread house. This is actually one of these shapes that is a cookie cutter flip. We're using this in our December class. It's also in my baseball class. So cookie cutter flips are really fun. You can use the same shape for so many different designs. And so we designed a stencil specifically for this shape to make it really easy. You can do this with your kids, your grandkids. I mean, if you want to whip up some cute Christmas cookies without having to mess with a ton of royal icing, you can do the stencil with that. So anyway, this is a gift. I am shipping this. Well, actually, it'll be shipped to you from Sweetly. This is part of our membership, which we talked about earlier, is going to be opening up. Let me show you this. It's going to be opening up on Friday. So please make sure that you are on the list for it. I would love to send you this gift. We will post that link right now. Just put your name in there. You're going to get the message first thing Friday morning that the membership is open and ready for you, and then we'll get this stencil out to you. Okay. Okay, let's see. Bev, 1123. I do believe so. Yeah. So if you just renewed, if you're a member and you just renewed, then yes, if you renewed for a new year, then the gingerbread cutter or the gingerbread stencil is included for you. Yeah. So I have even more gifts inside of our membership. I'm super excited to share those with you coming up on Friday. Join me for day 2. We'll decorate Elfie and Rudolph. Dive into the rest of the prep list if you still need to, if you need to get things ready for that. And then we'll be mixing up the browns and the green on that day too. Okay, so if you have colors from today, put them in the fridge. You can put them in the fridge or the freezer, and then just make sure they're thawed out for before we start class on Saturday. You can decorate along with me. Okay. Yes. Wonderful. Thank you so much for joining me and spending your time with me this evening. I'm so grateful for you. I hope that you have a phenomenal Thanksgiving holiday. What day is it today? Coming up in just a couple of days. And then please come back and join me for day 2. We will celebrate Christmas time again. I hope this has been helpful. Please tell your friends this is something that they can join in on too. If you have anybody else that you think might love a cookie class like this, then please invite them to join. And if anything, I just love hanging out with you. So come back again. Thank you so much. We'll see you on day 2 of Christmas Cookie Party. Bye, everybody.